Hello, everybody. Welcome to Standard Definition here on Bossers Network. I'm your host and Latin Insider Eddie V. Joining me is Bossman himself, Mr. Corey Dirrig.
Hello, I am here. We are podcasting about the GBA, and I'm quite excited.
Yeah. And we have the lovely legend herself, Miss Stephanie Klimov.
Good evening, friends.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. We are back in the building to do another ranking of Nintendo. You can see we already ranked the NES, we ranked the Game Boy and its various iterations, the Super Nintendo, and the N64. Now it's time for the Game Boy Advance. Yes, this was released in Japan on March 21st, 2001, June 11th in America, and June 22nd in PAL regions, so places like Europe and Australia. It is part of the 6th generations of consoles. It sold 80.51 million worldwide. There was also the GBA SP and Game Boy Micro. It had a lifespan of 7 years, 2001 to 2008. It's
7 years?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Who got 7 years out of their GBA?
You used to be surprised with the SP.
Well, I know the SP, but
yeah.
Sorry, 7 years. Jeez.
Its code name was Project Atlantis. It was designed by French designer Varnell Nicolas and his Tokyo-based design studio Curiosity Incorporated, and the Game Boy adapter for GameCube was the way to play GBA on TV. So, you guys,
Yes.
the Game Boy Advance. Now, it kind of it had a left and right trigger at the top, I believe, and then a B and A.
Yep.
With a directional.
Yep.
In the middle, it had the screen, which
Yes.
was kind of a little bit brighter for it. So they was going for a different design. With the SP version, it had a clasp to it. So it kind of like folded down. So you were able to open it, play it, and then, close it. And that became really popular.
Well, the
And
SP was essentially like a single screen DS at that point, right? I mean, that was
yes.
that was their kind of prototype for the DS, right? Was like, oh, can we make this clamshell design work? And spoilers, they did, because the SP is awesome. But I think I prefer the other version better, like the the horizontal layout. The SP was superior because it had that internal battery and it had a backlight, which was a first for a Game Boy.
Yes. And then the Game Boy Micro was just a smaller one. Guys, did we all have the original purple GBA?
Yes, that's the one I have.
I did.
Yes.
I, unfortunately, did not own a GBA,
unfortunately. Fired. Get out.
Oh, I didn't feel qualified for this as much as the N64 conversation.
You're missing one of the best Zelda games, Minish Cap.
I know. That's why they should either remake it or put it on NSO for Switch.
Oh, Minish Cap is so good. It's on the Wii U also.
But the two systems that I don't have, yeah.
Oh, are you even a real Nintendo fan?
How dare you? Passing judgment.
Well, Stephanie, I gotta ask, did you ever get a chance to play the GBA or anything?
Nope. I just did as much research as I could, so I'm gonna probably speak the least here.
Oh, so you didn't a friend didn't hand it over to you and you just never...
Yeah, believe it or not, no. I think by the time that came out, I started college, I think. What years were they out again?
2001, June 11th in America.
Oh, never mind. I started high school. I don't know. None of my friends that I made in the new school that I went to really weren't playing a lot of video games. I think one of them had a PS2 when PS2 eventually came out.
Yes.
So I was kind of getting away from that, and I had a Game Boy, the last iteration of portable, a mobile. Okay, I can't talk. My brain is really broken this time of night. You know what I mean? My parents would not get me the next gen up. They're like, hey, if your Game Boy Color still works, we're not getting you another one of those stupid things.
Break it.
So,
And you didn't play the Game Boy Advance on the Wii U, correct?
no, because I never had a Wii U.
Oh, no.
Fail.
I had either had or played with every Nintendo console except for those two, Game Boy Advance and Wii U. Those were literally my only two.
Okay.
Well, I think a lot of the reason why the Game Boy Advance had an extended life cycle too is because like the DS and the DS Lite had the Game Boy Advance slot in the bottom, and like at the time, yeah, there was a lot of interesting DS games, but like it was like Brain Age and Nintendogs and stuff, and those were games that I wasn't really into, and like okay, they had Mario 64 DS, which was fine, but like a lot of those initial run games for the DS I just wasn't into, so I used it as a Game Boy Advance still, you know. And so I think the Game Boy Advance got a lot of life out of the DS as well. You know, prolonged some of those things. Plus like a lot of games were easier to play on the DS, like Castlevania and Metroid, which were notoriously dark games on the Game Boy Advance because they were developing these games on backlit PCs where you could see everything. And you're like, oh, I'm going to make it dark because it's moody. And then when you go to play it on the Game Boy Advance, it was dark because there's no backlight. And you had to use one of those stupid worm lights or like hold it up to the street light in the car to like, play every 5 seconds.
Oh, wow. So that also didn't have a backlight, huh? All right. That was like...
They didn't put the backlight in until the SP, which was the foldable one. So...
and that's why I said I had moved playing all my games to the Game Boy adapter on GameCube.
Yeah, and like I love the form factor of the GBA. I think that the horizontal look to it is awesome. I love how kind of compact and small it is. I wish, like, if they were to do a Game Boy Classic edition or whatever, like I would want them to either make a Game Boy Pocket or a Game Boy Advance, like the first iteration, because I just think the design, those two consoles in my mind are like peak Nintendo portable design. Those consoles are beautiful consoles, and it was just a shame that there's no backlight on the Game Boy Advance again, despite everybody complaining at the time. I remember people complaining at the time that the Game Boy didn't have a backlight. That was like the big drawback of the Game Boy. Like, yeah, long battery life, great. Great games, awesome. Can't play it in the dark. Can't play it when it's sunny outside. Can't play it, without a light on. And it was really hard to play that game. And like I went back because like I was going through a lot of my old consoles and stuff the other day, and I was looking up because I have a box just full of my old Game Boys. So there's like 10 of them in there, and I was like, man, the Game Boy Advance is so cool. And I turned it on with like, I don't know, I think Tony Hawk 2 was in there because I was like, oh man, I remember this game being awesome. Which, spoilers, still is awesome. Game Boy Advance version of Tony Hawk, secretly one of the best games on Game Boy Advance, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But I couldn't see anything because our basement's kind of dark even when you turn the lights on, and like I just couldn't see anything. And I was like, man, this system would have been top tier, seriously top tier, if it just would have had a backlight. And I know you can buy modded ones now, and people are doing that, and that's great. But man, Game Boy Advance top tier.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's get into some of the noticeable games. There was Advance Wars, Golden Sun, Mario Luigi, Boktai, Castlevania, Aria of Sorrow and Circle of the Moon, The Legend of Zelda Minish Cap, Metal Slug Advance, Metroid Fusion, and Metroid Zero Mission.
You're not even going to talk about any of the NES remake games or the like the Mario Advance games. Man, that is the best version. That's the best version of Mario 2, and you're not even going to bring it up, Ed. It's one of our favorite games of all time.
But see, the remake of Mario 2 I played on Super Nintendo with the All-Star
It doesn't
Collection.
matter. This one's better because it's portable.
But I never played it on Game Boy Advance. So
Oh
speak about that.
man, no, it's so good. It's so good. Oh man, I remember the kind of the major complaint about the Game Boy Advance as well was like there wasn't a true Mario game on it. They were all the Mario Advance games were remakes. So like Mario Advance 1 and they didn't come out in order either, right? It was Mario Advance 1 was Super Mario 2. Mario Advance 2 was Super Mario World. Mario Advance 3 was Yoshi's Island, and Mario Advance 4 was a remake of Super Mario 3. So, like, they didn't come out in order. There was no proper Mario game. But these, aside from Yoshi's Island, these were, like, the superior versions of these games. And they all had extra content. And, like, the e-reader gave you extra levels in these games as well, which was, you know, another crazy feature. But like these were like top tier Mario remakes, and it's a shame that like nobody ever talks about them. And another reason why I want them to come out with Switch Online stuff is because these Mario games were so good.
Well, you know what else not what else, why I would like Game Boy Advance games to get on NSO, not just because I never got to play the games, but as you know, I'm a Zelda fan. And I heard this as a complaint, so it's not like I had the experience to. Like Four Swords Adventures, I don't think really got a great shot because it was a lot to ask of players because everyone needed their own Game Boy Advance, right, and their own hookup to a GameCube, I believe, right? So it's just like all of this hardware needed to play this one multiplayer game.
Well, there was actually two versions of Four Swords. There was Four Swords on the Game Boy, which, yeah, everybody needed their own Game Boy and game and link cable, right? But then there was Four Swords Adventures on the GameCube, which was everybody needed their game and their Game Boy, and then they needed the GameCube hookup, which it was a separate thing than the link cable. And it was like, man, you're like a cool idea, but you're asking an awful lot of people, you know, and it was just like, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. But like, I know we talk about this a lot, but even then, like, Nintendo was still trying to find ways to integrate their handheld stuff into their console, right? And like the GameCube, we talked a little bit about it already, but like the Game Boy player, which was really cool, really hard to find now. I sold mine last year because I just wasn't ever going to use it, and it was worth some money, and I was trying to save up for a Series X and the OLED Switch. But like, it was really cool. And then hooking your Game Boy up to the GameCube, right? Which for like Pac-Man and Four Swords, and the big one was like Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, right? The big return for Final Fantasy to Nintendo was Crystal Chronicles, and by the way, not a great game, but it was an interesting concept, you know, and a lot of games started doing that, and it was also one of the first systems where, like, Zelda aside, you could have one cartridge and still play with your friends if you had a link cable, right? Mario Kart Super Circuit was that game that I remember where everybody had to play as Shy Guy, but you could play the entire game with your friends with one cartridge, and it was really cool and interesting. And yeah. Sorry, I'll shut up now so somebody else can talk.
Oh, please keep talking. You need to talk for me because I have very minimal to contribute.
Go ahead, Corey.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I remember playing my Game Boy Advance a lot, but I didn't play very many games on it. I played a lot of what I had. You know, I played a lot of the Mario games. I played Minish Cap. I played Kingdom Hearts and Pokemon Fire Red, which is like the best way to play Pokemon Red, and Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, which was my first experience with Final Fantasy Tactics. Really, really great. I know there's 2 Fire Emblem games on there I never got to play. I really truly love the Game Boy Advance. And then they had that whole NES line which I played a lot of,
Yeah.
where they remade a lot of the NES games in cartridge form for $20, like Donkey Kong and Zelda, and that was the first time I ever played Zelda 1, was on Game Boy Advance.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
And it was super hard, and I hated it. I still think Zelda 1 is just...
It's brutal.
I mean, in 1986, that game was revolutionary, but, 15 years later, even after playing like Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, and even a little bit of what I played of A Link to the Past and Link's Awakening, like going back to Zelda 1 and 2 is rough. It's so rough. Like those games they just did not age super well. I played a lot of Super Mario Brothers though, and Donkey Kong. And like I think I had probably like 6 or 7 of the NES line. That's how I played the original Metroid for the first time. I know I say that's one of my favorite NES games, but like I played it on the Game Boy Advance first, and then I sought out the NES cartridge later. But that game is just a gem. I love the original Metroid game, and the first time I played it was on the Game Boy Advance. So
I played the original on the NES, but I couldn't beat it because I didn't know where to go, and it was just like kicking my tail. And then Zero Mission came out, and that changed the whole thing because I now knew it right now because it had a map in that game. And when it had a map, I'm like, okay, now I can figure out where I need to go and how I could do it. And then just just the way that the game ends and having that one more new section that you didn't know that was there. It was just like that was so cool for them to add on. And Zero Mission, as challenging as that game is, it's a horror game. It's literally it's not survival horror because you're Samus, It's a horror game. It's because you would get like tensed up and suspense. Like you would wonder, is that copycat of you in that room that you're about to go in? And you had to worry about fighting the boss and fighting that thing because it would just randomly appear, and there were at times that it was designated to appear there and stuff, and you just had to do your best to hide. Another game for me was Final Fight 1. So Final Fight on Super Nintendo only had Cody and Hager, and it was only one player. But Final Fight 1 had all 3 of them on there, and I think you could use the link cable to do 2-player on it. Ghouls, Super Ghosts and Goblins, or Ghouls and Ghosts, were on the Game Boy, and I remember actually getting further in that game because I think it had like a save feature on it too, on the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Game Boy Advance did a lot of... It was kind of like... And I mean, the Super Nintendo did this with a couple games, but it was really the first time we started seeing remasters of games.
Yes.
And it was really cool. And they didn't use that term back then, right? They were just like, oh, we're re-releasing Mario 2, but it looks different. But... It was really the first time that they actually made some quality of life changes, and Zero Mission was one of those games, and I think A Link to the Past had a couple changes in it that made it easier to play, and so I mean the Game Boy Advance was just awesome at that, but it was also a really weird, interesting time for third-party games. Because, like, one of my favorite games on Game Boy Advance was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. And if you're wondering why a Game Boy version of Tony Hawk was so fun, look up YouTube videos of Tony Hawk 2 on Game Boy Advance. It was like this isometric version of Tony Hawk, and like all the levels were there. Like every single level was intact. There was no kind of fudging it or anything. It was just an isometric view of Tony Hawk, and it was so good. Like all the tricks were there, all the characters were there. I mean, granted, they didn't really have faces or body parts, but they were there, and the leveling system was there. All the like collect the skate and secret tapes and knock over all the barrels and stuff. That was all there, and I played so much Tony Hawk 2 on the Game Boy Advance that like I think I wore out a trigger on my Game Boy Advance, and I actually took it in somewhere to get it fixed because I played so much Tony Hawk 2, and it was like they just did some really cool things with third-party games. I think it was also my first experience with Doom. They put Doom on Game Boy Advance, which now I know the big joke is like they put Doom on everything. I think somebody put it on an electronic Lego brick recently.
Yeah.
I'm not joking. Like there's a Lego brick with a small screen in it, and somebody put Doom on a Lego brick.
That's awesome.
So weird. But yeah,
Quick question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the more you're describing all these games and the fact you're talking about like the first batch of like remakes or something on there, how was the graphics and sound chips for that? Because the last portable I had experienced was with Game Boy, and the sound chips weren't that great.
Yeah.
So it was closer to a Super Nintendo.
I would say like the graphically they were kind of selling it as a 32-bit handheld, but I would say it was somewhere in between a Super Nintendo and like 2D games on a PlayStation.
Okay.
Yeah. And like I remember playing so many, like Rayman. The first Rayman game was ported to the GBA, and it was awesome. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, it was so good. I know a lot of people talk about Origins and Legends and how great those games are, but the GBA version of Rayman 1 was so good. It was so fun. I played a lot of that, and I played a lot of Mario Kart Super Circuit, which was like way better than Mario 64 and Super Mario Kart. And I know nobody ever talks about it because like 2 years after that game came out, Mario Kart DS came out, and that is the best Mario Kart until Mario Kart 8 comes out, in my opinion. But man, now that I'm kind of like sitting here talking. By the way, played a lot of Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. Guess what? Card game, Ed. I know it was really bad, and I hate card games. But yeah, played it. Not fun because I didn't like the card system, but I played it.
It's a non-cynical kind of. I just don't like the Kingdom Hearts storyline.
One of the games that actually, like, if you were to play any of those offshoots, that's one of the more important ones.
It was the first spin-off. It came out between. It's the story. It tells the story. What happens between Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah. They remade it. They remade it for PlayStation 2 after Kingdom Hearts 2 came out in full 3D, and like it actually plays like it still has a card building system in it, but it plays just like a normal Kingdom Hearts game. It's available in the HD collection, I think.
Yeah. Because I think while Chain of Memories is happening, 352 over 2 days is also happening.
Yeah, they kind of happen concurrently because 356 over 2 days is about the rise of the 13th and 14th member of Organization 13, which actually has a huge part in Chain of Memories. So, yeah. Kingdom Hearts lore, everybody. I know you're here for Game Boy Advance talk, but...
Which
fooled you. Kingdom Hearts Advance. Boom.
Just that whole storyline of Kingdom Hearts is nonsense.
You know what, Ed? You're nonsense. Kingdom Hearts is a gem.
And which one have you beaten?
All of them.
Are you sure?
I've beaten Birth by Sleep, 1, Chain of Memories, 356 over 2 days, 2, Recoded, and what was the 3DS one? Dream Drop Distance. And
I just think that the names of them are ridiculous.
They are.
Yeah.
You are correct. But yeah. Dream Drop Distance, it was named that way because it was on the 3DS.
Yes.
There's 3Ds in Dream Drop Distance.
Wow. All right.
So you also had Mega Man Zero and sort of that series and Mega Man Battle Network on the GBA.
Yeah, did you
It's
play
kind of
those?
like Zero. I did. I enjoyed Zero.
Because
The
that
Battle
Zero
Network.
collection came out on Switch and it's on sale right now, and I'm like, I'm on this weird like. I know I'm playing at the time of this recording. I'm playing. Oh, by the way, I just remembered we have to name our patrons. Maybe after this conversation, we'll do that.
Yes.
But besides playing Death's Door and Fire Emblem, I've been on this weird nostalgia retro game kick where like I want to play games that I never got to when I was younger. Like that's why I bought Street Fighter and I reinstalled the Mega Man collection, the first one. And I'm kind of tinkering with the Nintendo Switch Online stuff. So like I was wondering if you played any of those Game Boy Advance Mega Man games and if it's worth getting the Zero collection on Switch.
I think the Zero collection you would enjoy, but if you haven't played like the Mega Man series or anything, you may not enjoy it in effect, but I enjoyed it.
Okay. But you like Mega Man though, so I mean,
yeah. And if the sale is like really cheap, I say get it.
Okay.
If it's like only like $10 or something like that, I don't know what the sale price is. I say get it. Surprisingly though, Astro Boy on the GBA, which was done by Treasure, is a really great game. I know a lot of people didn't like the console versions of it, but they said the one on the GBA, because Treasure did it, was a really good version of that game. Because I think they were doing the Astro Boy movie at that time when it came out.
I remember people liking that quite a bit, actually. So I didn't play it, so I don't know. But
yeah.
The other game that I played a lot of was the Mario vs. Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
Game, which was really interesting. It was like a new take on the classic Donkey Kong, like arcade Donkey Kong games.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like this. It was more of a puzzle game than an actual make your way up the ladder to save Pauline or Peach or whatever. But it was really fun. I love those games. I wish they would make a new one. Because March of the Minis, I think, was the DS one.
Uh-huh.
And that one was cool, but that very first one on GBA was I would say, an underrated masterpiece, in my opinion.
My mom, she had the DS. She had the March of the Minis. She had her own DS for that game. Mm-hmm. She never played it on the GBA because she didn't buy one for herself. But when she played that series, she was into it.
Yeah, it's cool. It's so cool. When that game came out, I was obsessed.
Aww.
I played a lot more GBA than I realized now that we're talking about it. I was coming into this episode, I was like, man, I don't know if I have a lot to talk about GBA because I don't really remember a lot about it. But like now that we're talking about it, and I am kind of like, I have a list of GBA games in front of me just to kind of like stir my memory about it. But like, I played a lot of GBA, and this is coming from someone who didn't really care for handheld gaming all that much, except for like Tetris and, a little bit of Pokemon and whatever else, right? And so, man, GBA.
I know we mentioned it at the beginning of the podcast about the Castlevania games on GBA.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Out of all the collections that have been coming out, would you say the GBA collections are the best in the Castlevania series? Because that's what I've been told.
Go ahead.
So it depends on which Castlevania games you prefer. You prefer the linear 2D ones, or do you prefer the Metroid or the adventure exploring ones? I should say. I won't say Metroidvania. Because the thing about it is when they got to after Symphony of the Night came out, they switched to that style for Castlevania. The last the last linear one that came out before Castlevania Rebirth was Castlevania Bloodlines on the Sega Genesis.
Mm-hmm.
That was the last time they did level Castlevanias.
Yeah.
So it depends on just which ones that you will enjoy. I think go ahead, Corey.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize you were continuing. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no. I was just gonna say, if you enjoy like Symphony of the Night or the adventure ones, that kind of design, then yes, Castlevania, the advanced ones, because I didn't get to play them.
Mm-hmm.
I have it on Xbox, and I want to go through them, but I never got a chance to play them. They're a little bit challenging, but they're more easier to get into because you can level up, get stronger, find the right weapon that fits you, and be able to fight these bosses.
Mm-hmm.
So it's easier than the old ones because, like, Castlevania Simon's Quest, that has bad localization. So you had to literally play that game with a guy to find out what to do next and what the right tricks to do, so you get the correct ending.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool.
So,
yeah, I would say Circle of the Moon. I think a lot of people consider that, and then like the DS ones, which aren't coming anytime soon to the Switch, I'm assuming, but like that line, the GBA and the DS games are the closest games to Symphony of the Night that people always point to and say those games are the games. If you want to play great Castlevania games that are not Symphony of the Night, they point at the GBA and DS ones.
Yeah,
I just bought the Advanced Collection because Castlevania is a big sore spot in my gaming history. So I have both collections now, and I'm gonna try to go through them, even though I know they're all extremely difficult.
Well, see, that's the thing. I saw them on sale for the summer sale, and I'm like, I think it's the GBA ones that I want to get. So
I say go with that one because the regular Castlevania ones are very challenging.
I wonder if the Advanced Collection lists them in order because there is a story to the Advanced ones.
Okay.
That like you. I mean, not that they're great storytelling or anything, but like, I think Circle of the Moon is the first one, and then Aria of Sorrow I think is the second one.
Aria of Sorrow is the second one because Dawn of Sorrow is the sequel to Aria of Sorrow.
Yeah, which is the first DS one, right? So,
yes,
Dawn of Sorrow DS. Yeah, okay. And so like I'm excited to see these collections on the Switch, right? Like I every time one of these classic collections pops up, I try to at least get them. I really want the Capcom Fighting Collection one because like Darkstalkers is one of the great fighting games of all time, I hear, and I really want to play it. Like
I never got to play it.
I'm just really on this retro kick right now, I want to play all these games, and like I really hope Nintendo decides to put Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games on.
Yes.
Because, like, those two Fire Emblem games are games that I never played, and I really want to. Because, since I think, like, a lot of people, Awakening really, like, proved that Fire Emblem could hit mainstream, and that's when I got into it, and I never went backwards, Because, I mean, they're so hard to find now, and they're so expensive if you do find them. Even the DS one, Shadow Dragon, I think, or something like that. Like those are all extremely difficult to find. So I just want to play these games. Although I think I did buy most of these games on the Wii U Virtual Console, which rip if you didn't buy anything because you can't add. I think you can still add eShop credit, but you can't add your credit card. Is that the deal right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Stupid.
The one thing with the GBA is there is a lot of licensed games, like that the kids games, for it. So,
also, before you get into licensed games, Ed, some of the best 2D Sonic games are on the Game Boy Advance.
Yes.
Sonic Advance and Sonic Advance 2 are some of the best Sonic games ever made. That's all I wanted to say. That's really all I wanted to say.
I forgot there was Ninja Turtles on the
They're
GBA.
not good. Move along.
Oh, wow.
Uh,
Okay.
Actually,
that's
there was one side-scrolling one that was okay. It was not Battle Nexus because I think that's the second one, but they made side-scroll. Remember they had 3 games on the GameCube that were based off that second iteration of the cartoon, and the Game Boy Advance had the side-scrolling versions of those games. Which the first one was it was good, not great. Like it's no Turtles in Time or Hyperstone Heist.
Mhm.
But I will give it to them that they tried to make those games and they were okay, right? But man, Battle Nexus and what Mutant Nightmare I think was the third one was just they were not good. They were slow. They had frame rate issues. I think one of them just totally froze if you went to a certain area. It was just they were not great. First one was okay.
Wow. Okay.
yeah.
Where's
That's
Lamont
pretty
when you
much
need him?
that's pretty much all that I have. Cause I didn't really buy a lot of licensed games. Like I said, a lot of the Game Boy Advance stuff. Uh, I just got like kind of like here and there. Cause yeah, I think when it came to like the Game Boy Advance, I was getting games and I did enjoy it, but I think I didn't really rank up my list of games until I got the DS. Because by that time I had my own job and I was able to buy my own games and buy more.
We did
And so
we did get a lot of good experiments on this console though, right? I mean, can we
yes,
talk about some of those a little bit? Like
Boktai, in order to like kind of play the game, you had to be in sunlight.
I know. Wow.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Also, the WarioWare game was on there with the cartridge that had like the gyroscope in it because you had to like twist your Game Boy Advance. What was it? WarioWare Twisted, I think it was called. And like all the mini games revolved around you moving and twisting your Game Boy Advance.
Huh.
That was super interesting.
Yoshi's Topsy Turvy.
Oh god.
It features a built-in tilt sensor, which is used to manipulate the game's environment. By tilting the Game Boy Advance left or right, the player can tilt the game area, causing enemies and other objects to slide as the direction of gravity changes. This gameplay mechanic is used to solve puzzles or aid Yoshi in completing levels. The game received mixed reviews, though.
Yeah.
Well, that's Nintendo trying to, do something different, right? And innovative, whether or not it's successful. So I'm happy I'm learning about all this stuff.
Yeah. I like the more we talk about Game Boy Advance, the more it's like I feel like the Game Boy Advance, you can point to it and said, after the Super Nintendo, they have really kind of perfected pixel art 2D games on a lot of these games. Even like the remakes of Pokemon were awesome. Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green were like, I'm not the biggest Pokemon guy, especially after Silver, right? Like I just don't know anything that happened after those games. But man, replaying Fire Red with like 16-bit color graphics with like real music and like these cute redesigned Pokemon from the anime, and like it was like everything I ever wanted,
Because that's the remake of the original ones, I think.
Yeah, Fire Red and Leaf Green were the remakes of Red and Blue, because in Japan, blue was actually green.
Of course.
I don't know why, but yeah, those games, like I know those games are worth a ton of money now, even like cartridge only. I think somebody posted in our Discord or in one of our chats that like they found Fire Red for like $70 and that was a good deal. So
oh wow.
Yeah, if you have a copy of that, just hold on to it, or if you don't want it, sell it for a pretty penny. Yeah, that Fire Red is like one of the all-time great remakes of all time, and I got that feeling a little bit when they announced Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. you know, because I was like, oh, this is the remakes. This is a true remake of like, you know, Red and Blue, and then obviously it had like the Pokemon Go mechanics in it. It wasn't exactly that, but like when they first showed it off, I was like all about it, and it was super disappointing. But also like my first experience with a tactics game was on the Game Boy Advance, right? Because I never had a PlayStation, but I always heard how great Final Fantasy Tactics was.
Yes.
And they made Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, which was great. It was a really fun tactical RPG, and I really loved it. It was so much fun. Also, the Mario and Luigi RPGs spawned here, which I would argue are the true successors to Mario RPG, not Paper Mario. But the writing is so good in Mario and Luigi. If you have a 3DS, like, find these games. These games are just a joy to play. The writing is so good. They're funny. Like, the comedy in these games are great. The enemies are great. Like, I think Partners in Time is actually like one of the more interesting ones, where you are Mario and Luigi, but you also have Baby Mario and Baby Luigi.
Yeah.
And you have to like, manipulate them in a way. Dream Team was really good, which was the DS one. Luigi's Dream Team or something.
I still feel like Inside Bowser's Story is.
Well,
top
I mean, Bowser's Story is the
Bowser's Inside Story.
Yeah, I think a lot of people point to that one as like the best one, which they also remade on the 3DS. So,
and it's so funny, just
so
right
funny
in that game.
Like if you want a good laugh, play these games and just laugh. They're just a joy. I hope we get one. I hope we get one or like a collection on the Switch of these games, because they are just worth a play.
Yes.
Also, like Ed, you mentioned Advance Wars, which I never played, but I can hear LeRon jumping up and down, and I know we didn't really mention it, but now that we mentioned it, he can.
Well, it's a trigger for him now, because the reboot has been delayed over and over again.
It's coming out soon.
I know.
It's coming, and I said with the next, I feel like with the next Nintendo Direct,
Look,
they'll talk more about it.
Nintendo doesn't have anything big in August. That feels like an August game. There's nothing big coming out really in August except for like Madden, right? You know, it would be a good palate cleanser to Xenoblade for someone right before Splatoon comes out in September, right? I feel like August is a great spot for Advance Wars.
Yeah. And like I said, like even with the delay, I feel like Way Forward and Nintendo has been working on that game, polishing some stuff up.
I wonder if they're polishing it up and adding content too.
I have a feeling, yeah.
Because if I remember correctly, Advance Wars 1 was like really short, even though it was a tactical game. Like I feel like the first one was short, and the second one was like, it was a little bit longer. But putting those two games in one package is like one full game. I wonder if they'll add anything from Battalion Wars or, whatever those that was the GameCube version, right? Battalion Wars?
Yeah.
Advance Wars? Yeah. I wonder if they'll put anything in there or something. But that seems like a good August game. So.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything else left to say about Game Boy Advance. I feel like I talked the whole time. I thought you were going to have a lot to say, Ed, but...
No, I would have more to say on the DS when it comes to it, because... The DS had more games that I played and bought and experienced than I have with the GBA. And I think definitely with, having the PlayStation 2, having the Dreamcast, having the GameCube, and even the Xbox, a lot of my handheld gaming was there a little bit, but the console gaming really took over into the DS game. Because once DS Lite dropped, man, it was like, I won't say I was re-energized for a handheld, but there were just so many great DS games on that system that just blows the GBA out.
Yeah, I remember I bought a PSP over a DS, and I didn't really care for the PSP, and so I ended up getting a DS Lite like 6 months later when because right when I was about to buy a DS, they showed off the DS Lite, and I was like, I'm waiting for that, and then I ended up getting that. which is funny because I only played like like 5 games on the PSP. I did not care for that console at all. I wish I would have known people were hacking it and making it an emulation machine because I would have done that.
I think Chris Kotzer, or not Chris Kotzer, someone showed Miyamoto a hacked PSP and it had Nintendo games on it, and Miyamoto didn't know wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the PSP, the only games I played on it were the 2 God of War games, Kingdom Hearts. There was the War of the Lion. I almost said War of the Monsters. War of the Lions. Final Fantasy Tactics game was on there, and Daxter maybe, which like I think that was it.
Yeah,
that was it. I did not care for the PSP at all.
You didn't watch no movies on it?
No. So I watched Spider-Man 2 because it came with it, and I watched it on an airplane to Disney World, and I was like, oh, well, that's the last time I'm doing that.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Remember when Sony thought that those were going to be the next big thing?
The UMDs?
UMDs? Universal Media Disc, and the only thing you can play them in is your PSP.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Shoot, Xbox had the HD DVD. Because
Yeah.
Sony had
Well, that
Blu-ray.
made sense. HD DVD made sense at the time because you moved from DVD to HD DVD. No, I think a lot of people actually thought HD DVD was going to take over, right? But then like Sony started giving away 5 Blu-rays per Blu-ray player, and then all of a sudden you're in the ecosystem because you got 5 free ones, including me.
Right.
I still have my HD DVD hookup for my 360.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
King Kong, and I think I have a couple Harry Potter movies. I think that's it.
Oh, wow.
Anyways. Blu-ray obviously run out, but
Yeah. So, I think it's time just to go ahead and rank this one because I don't have no more to say about GBA.
Before we rank, do we want to acknowledge our patrons?
Our patrons. Yeah, if you go over to patreon.com/Boss Rush Network, you can support us directly through our subscription program. We give a few perks for those who subscribe. At $1, you get Standard Definition, After Dark, Expansion Pass, and the Boss Rush Podcast early. If you subscribe for just $1, all of our content is free. By the way, you don't have to do this. It's just a way for you to directly support us as a team, as a content team. If you do support us, we really appreciate it. If you don't support us, you can always leave a great review on iTunes or Spotify, or subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Boss Rush Network. But if you do head over to patreon.com/Boss Rush Network for just $1, you get those early access. But if you subscribe at the $5 tier, you become a Patreon producer. What does that mean? It means you get your name shouted out on this here program, as well as our other content here on the Boss Rush Network, including our, well, I shouldn't say including. I should say our Patreon producers for this episode are Quentin Jackson, Rebecca Jewell, Adriel Munger, and my wife, Sana Dirrig. Quick note, we are recording this on June 26th, so if you subscribed after that date, you will hear your name on other content. We just try to record Standard Definition in a kind of like a group capacity here. So sorry if we didn't get you on this episode, just that quick note there. But we do appreciate our patrons, our Patreon producers, and all of our free listeners. Obviously, we do this to entertain you, keep your mind off things, whatever's going on in the world, and we really, really appreciate you guys. So thank you for listening. Now on to the rankings, I guess. Quick reminder, everybody, if I can open up the Discord here. Our current rankings sit as follows. Yeah,
we have a new number 1.
We do, yes. And I kind of have a feeling it's going to stay that way for now. But our current ranking is number 1, Nintendo 64, number 2, the Game Boy, number 3, the Super Nintendo, and 4, the NES. I mean, for me, this would probably sit right underneath the Nintendo 64, but I know that it's probably going to be lower on everybody's list because just for lack of,
I would put it under the Super Nintendo. I will.
That's
Well,
kind of
actually,
what.
no. Yeah, I
Well,
will
if you
put it
think
under the
about
Super
it, the best
Nintendo.
Super Nintendo games are on the GBA.
Hey, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I think my ranking would be N64, Game Boy, Super Nintendo, Game Boy Advance, NES.
I mean, that's kind of where I was sitting, even though I would have it higher. I'm just trying to think of it realistically in terms of the panel here, where it would probably sit. I would think about putting it above Super Nintendo just because those games are available natively on the Game Boy Advance.
But then Game Boy Advance don't have like Turtles in Time and Super Metroid and Chrono Trigger and Secret of Mana, like those
You know,
I
really
I
know.
think
good classics.
Yeah.
historically, like what they've contributed, I just feel like Super Nintendo just, I don't know,
Yeah,
did a
but
lot more than GBA did. But
I mean,
Yeah.
what you lack in Super Metroid, you have Zero Mission and Fusion. What you lack in, Chrono Trigger, you have the 4 and 6 remakes of Final Fantasy and a Tactics Advance 2. And that's where my argument instantly goes. But also, like, I know that arguing against Chrono Trigger and Super Metroid is like where this is your guys' weak spot, Super Nintendo is my weak spot. So again, I'm not really going to argue against that. And again, like I said on the Nintendo 64 episode, there's going to be some heartbreakers on this list. So,
Yeah.
so definitely above NES, right?
Yes.
Okay.
yeah, yep.
So we would slot it at number 4, right under the Super Nintendo. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Okay. 4 Game Boy Advance. Then we'll change the NES to number 5. Man, I'm kind of surprised the NES is that low.
No, I feel bad.
I think because of the investment in technology and investment in games, the NES is like the beta. It's kind of like the birth to a lot of video game history for a lot of people. And there's just so many classics with this modern age, and even with the Super Nintendo, that kind of started a lot of people getting into more genres than the NES would. And plus, people who had the NES, like, you really had to blow your cartridge if it collected a lot of dust and stuff.
And in all fairness, because who knows, maybe we'll get a bad review just because we ranked it at number 5 right now. But it's sitting at number 5 doesn't make it a bad console. I mean, we're all ranking like cream of the crop. Like, Nintendo puts out amazing hardware in addition to their software IPs. But
Yeah. Unfortunately, like, going forward, like, I don't see the NES moving from there. I could be wrong. I have opinions on other consoles that I know are people's other opinions, but it's fine. We'll get there when we get there. But yeah, I mean, so our current ranking sits as follows. The Nintendo 64 is number 1. I'm kind of surprised. Game Boy at number 2, Super Nintendo at number 3, Game Boy Advance at number 4, and NES at number 5. The next console is what? The GameCube? Is that the next thing we're doing?
Yes, it is.
Ooh.
I kind of have a feeling the Nintendo 64 is going to be dethroned.
Let's not talk about it right now.
I know. I was looking at my GameCube games earlier today. Man, I'm so sad that half of my collection is missing because that console has some bangers, some real bangers.
Hey, let the N64 bask in its place while it lasts, okay? I want to ride that high and then deal with GameCube when we get there.
I know. All right, Ed. Let's get out of here. Get us out of here.
All right, Stephanie, where can we find you?
Listeners can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Klimov, KLIMOV_author. My articles on bossrush.net and Boss Rush Podcast Wednesday nights and a bunch of other podcasts I just pop up on.
All right, Corey, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at IamCoreyHD. You can find me on Nintendo Power Block, the Boss Rush Podcast, and a bunch of other things here on the Boss Rush Network.
Yes, and you guys can find me at that Retro Code and on Twitter and Instagram, Nintendo Pod Block, and Expression Pass, another podcast here at Boss Rush Network, and on our YouTube page. You can find me there. But then, everybody, have a great week. Have a great weekend. Our next ranking is going to be the Nintendo GameCube. Get ready, because it's going to be a discussion.
I feel like that episode's going to be super long.
It probably will.
Well,
And with that, everybody,
I
I
just feel like that's the first console where we all have something to say about it in a real detailed manner, you know? And I'm excited for the GameCube discussion. I really am.
Yeah, we might have to just record the one that day.
yeah.
Nope.
Might be like 4 hours long.
I mean, it might be.
Yeah. And with that, everybody, we will see you next time on Nintendo. Oh my goodness. We'll see you next time on Standard Definition. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
It's late.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah. One day. You're off by one day. That's okay.